Professor V here again. Um, really enjoy Wednesday's class, and yep, I have come to a decision on the discussion, and I'm gonna basically instead of just writing more stuff for you guys, I'm gonna do a video to add to my discussion post, additional guidance in here, and I figure I do it in more detail than I did in class, if that makes sense to you guys. So, first of all, I just want you to give me thoughtful research comments. I don't want large page after page posting, and I want to show you what that quality looks like, if that makes sense. All right, let's just start by looking at the discussion groups. I saw a comment earlier on one of the, I guess it was on the student lounge, which probably was not the perfect place to post this stuff. I prefer that class material be posted to the Ask Your Question Here forum. I will not look at the student lounge. That's for you guys to discuss. I'm going to focus on the Ask Your Questions here. So that's the first thing I want to show you, is that this is where I want you guys to comment about questions regarding the class material, procedures, all that kind of stuff. If you put into the student lounge, I'm really not going to look at it, and nor am I going to require to ask for you guys to answer each other's questions. So that happens here in the Ask Your Questions Here forum. The groups are under my tool, class list groups. There we go. When you press in there, you may not be able to see all the groups. You only will be able to see yours. But when you click on your assigned group, or where it says members, that's what you'll see the names of the people who are going to be the lead for that discussion for this week. In this case, these are the two members who are required to have lead discussion post this week. Okay. Instructions. Let's go through that real quick. Quite lengthy. I'm gonna boil it down to what really needs to be done. So basically, what this is really telling you is that if you're in group 1, you'll be the lead for week 1, and because there's 4 groups, right? And week 5. If you're in group 2, like it shows in here, you'll be the lead for weeks 2 and 6. For group 3, you'll be the lead for weeks 3 and 7, and for week 4 and 8. So you can see it's alternate leadership of the lead post when he's due by every basically 3 weeks. So week 1 for this week will be week 1, and week 5, week 2, and week 6 for group 2, and so on. Don't worry about peer responses. This is kind of too complicated. If you're not in the lead, you're in a peer group. That's all you really have to worry about. So now this is all the 3 things I use to evaluate it, and I'm going to break that down a little bit more for you in my guidance. And what all this says is that leaders groups are do their lead post by the Friday, close of business Friday. This week I'm going to extend that. Obviously, I'm behind the power curve on that, but basically a lead posts are normally done on Friday, and then by the Tuesday everybody else needs to have their comments done. The lead, like I mentioned in class, is responsible for one lead discussion that starts the discussion, and then after that the lead is responsible to respond to 2 peers. By the way, you don't have to respond just to your own lead post. You can respond to the other lead groups post. You do not have to stay with your own group. Especially that happens if a group picks up one of the threads, and all of a sudden they all go in that one person, that other leads comment, and all of a sudden you find yourself with no comments back. Don't worry about it. The intent here is to engender discussion in either of the posts. You as a leader do not have to just wait for people to respond just to your own. You can discuss in both lead posts are put in again for, related to this week. If you're not in week 1 this week, you're a peer, so you're required to provide 2 responses, all to be turned in by the end of the class week. All right, and I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do this week, because I'm going to extend the discussion post. Okay, so these are the instructions. You want more details, please read it. All right, this is repeating that same information, probably in a lot more detail. So let's talk about my guidance, which I publish on my announcement. I'm about to publish it with this video. right? So a lot of stuff in here. So I'm just gonna break it into the takeaways, right? First thing is I want to see is that you conduct a thoughtful analysis, right? Not extensive analysis, just thoughtful. And I'm going to show what that looks like once we'll go through this week's discussion. I'm looking for people to stay on topic. Too many people start talking about one topic and end up talking about something else that reduces the value of the comment. As a matter of fact, I'm going to illustrate this by opening our discussion post for this week and show you what that looks like. So I'm going to put them side by side. All right. So the discussion for this week starts right here. Okay. So basically this week, the lead guy and the peer groups have to talk about the impact of technology on our world, basically in our professional and personal lives. So that's kind of the topic, including business decision making software, shaping and transforming industries, all that stuff that information systems contribute to our life. And then they give you 3 questions. What is an example of a technology that has global implications? We talked about that in class. What are some of the short-term issues and challenges with this technology? And what are some of the long-term issues with that? So you're going to pick up a technology that has global implications. What's missing from there is that it has to be a technology that uses information systems. As a matter of fact, let me just add that to that comment right now. Because I don't want that to be missed out. That uses information systems and has global implication. I hope this makes sense to you guys. All right. So, and then what are the short-term issues and challenges with this technology, and what are some of the long-term? So you pick a technology. I don't care what it is. Electric grid improvements have been done. The use of green energy, but technologies, nuclear power. I don't care. But as long as you now are referring to the systems, information systems that are related to that. So in green technology is the idea of maybe the information systems communication that allows different green technologies to communicate with each other. And there is a lot of papers out there that discuss that. Let's use another technology, cars, driverless car. We're not quite there yet, but now we have cars that are semi-autonomous, but they use communication systems, computers, to talk to each other, to talk to the road. Maybe that's one thing you want to discuss. But again, focus on the information system, not just on the car driving. That to me is what ties this together to information system. And then to conduct a thoughtful analysis on that. We're not asking for your opinion. I'm not asking for Facebook. I'm asking comment. I'm asking for you to decide what technology, do a little research, which means just type Google, put auto technology or driverless cars or autonomous car information systems. And then from there, you'll have all kind of returns. Pick for the leaders, they pick 2 references and then discuss those to explain and answer question number 1. And then from there, you can talk about short-term issues and long-term issues. So that to me is a well-done thing. It's a well-done research for it. A Google search in automated vehicles, information systems, bingo. And then pick that technology, explain it here, and then answer the questions. Deliver the ham sandwich like I discussed in class. This gives you more details. Stay on topic. Now, if you start talking about auto vehicles and you start just talking about the technology of auto vehicles, you're off topic. It's about the information systems, right? What are the implications of it too? Let me give you an example of an on-topic issue that deals with information system when it relates to driverless car. You have systems that connect with a vehicle, with the road, GPS information. So there's data that's being collected on that. Let's say the car crashes. Who is responsible, right? And then from an information system, you have to think about, well, who owns the information? Is the information that caused the accident? Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that, right? Was it bad information that was being fed into the vehicle? So is the owner of that information responsible, or is it the car maker responsible? What if the person who drove put the address wrong, and it basically goes right into into a bad intersection, or makes a car turn around? Anything you think out of the box, all the things that happen when an information systems fails or impacts that technology, right? How about this? How about if you are able now to take your iPad and plan your route, right? And when you load into the car, you use this with the iPad, and all of a sudden you feed it the wrong information, and all of a sudden the car is going the wrong way. Whose fault is it? All right. Now let's get something that is more information technology, more information centric. Of course, I know a bunch of you guys are going to write about artificial intelligence throughout this course. That's one of them. But let's think about this idea of commerce and the fact that we can now do that. You can do direct business with Walmart or eBay or Amazon, and you're putting all this information out there and using those commerce platforms to the network, and how and what effects that has in you. Another one, Netflix. All these piping of information. How about online college, right? Technologies have improved to do a lot of teaching, right? What are the positives? What are the negatives? How will that impact you? Think about COVID, and think about how e-colleges and electronic online classes affected you in home. So anyway, I'm just throwing a bunch of ideas at you guys. You have to decide on your own what technology, information systems, implications, and then relate that to your what are the short-term issues and challenges, and long-term issues and challenges long-term are also available there. That to me is a thoughtful analysis, and it doesn't take much of a search for that. Now again, stay on topic means stay with the topic. Don't start going left field and forget about the fact that this is about information systems. Minimize subjective opinions and first-person I comments. This is to train you. This is about training you about how to write papers. Too many people use the I comments. I think, I do. I already know that you know that. What I'm interested in is what is that you're learning new. So this is where I want you to do this research. 2 for leaders, 1 per comment for peers. But let me talk about peer comments for a second. Let's say who is doing okay, Spinoza, Antonio Espino, Antonio posts something about electronic cars, right? Driverless cars or autonomous cars, right? And now you're responding to that. Most students, what they're been doing is they just agree. I agree with your comments, blah 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 blah. Okay, that should not waste. Don't waste time on that. Just okay, you agree with the comment, but what is it you bring in new? So you may find an article that addresses a challenge. You may find an article that addresses a short or term issue related to information systems that those cars drive. Bring that into the conversation. I comments are okay, but when you start just giving your opinion, you're not learning anything. All right. So try to find out something out there. Now I know that some of you guys will be, because you're being taught by other teachers that opinions are like, the only thing you need. The problem with that is that you're not learning, right? I want you to learn, and that to me is not enough. You can use your opinion, but bring something new to the conversation first. Now, once you bring that issue, then okay, I'll respect your opinion on that new issue you brought in, okay? But don't just keep repeating what other people did. All right? That's just not quality. Do research and include class materials and external references for the leads, for the leaders. What I try to do is include 1 class and 1 external reference, if you can. Most students, what they end up doing is bringing just 2 external references. For the peers, you basically use 1 reference per post. Cite your references and use quotation marks. So this is to avoid the issue of, again, this is kind of a training tool I use to prepare you for the paper. Learn how to cite references properly. I already posted how to do that. You should also have completed the APA 7 academic integrity tutorial, and you should already have that knowledge. If not, call me. We can go through that and work it out for you, and I will work out with you and help you out. But what I don't want to do is for you to copy paste the reference and present as it was yours. Do proper quotations, proper in-text citation, and list the reference per APA. Make the required number of posts, not more. I have had students that have continued to post in everything, in every comment out there. That does not help you. Do not waste time on writing 5 different posts, especially peers, with very, very little research. Quantity means nothing to me. It just is the quality that I'm looking for. So just the fact that you posted 5 or 6 different comments, I'm only going to look for the ones that are quality posts that use reference material. Anything else is really not going to do anything for you. No gap fillers. Don't add fluff. Just, again, it's okay to provide an opinion, but don't make things up. Do a little bit of research. Read your peer post. I know most of you are not reading your peer post. Grammar, syntax, run-on sentences. Make sure you do grammar. There is Grammarly out there.com that I use. It's a free tool. I'll post more on that later. Just check your grammar. I am not going to grade grammar as long as it makes sense, but sometimes some of the posts are rushed and people write stuff that just does not make sense. You're not going to get credit for something just that was thrown out there. And ask relevant questions. I really suggest that the way to engender more communication between peers is to ask relevant questions. So when you're done with your post, ask something else out there for someone else to answer. Peer leaders, the same thing for you. This will engender conversations and may answer questions you may already have. Yeah, experience and opinion matter. Yeah, it does. But not as much as things you find that add to the conversation. And then, I have mentioned some of this in my class. Read to understand, research the topic, write your post stating your points clearly, back up your points with citations and references, and repeat that both for responses. And this is really just a philosophy I have on how to write things. Again, read it. I just think it's valuable. It just gives you a structured way of solving problems, not just for this discussions here, but also when you do the paper too. And this is how I graded. Was it submitted timely? Was it complete and well organized, well supported, relevant, added value, and demonstrated your understanding of that subject? If you're one of those peers, by the way, that takes a conversation off topic, you're going to be called out for. If the subject is autonomous automotive, and the leader did a good job of connecting to information systems, and you start just talking about about electricity and how electric cars are going to save us money, you're off topic. I hope that's a clear example. Bring it back to the conversation of information system as it relates to whatever. In this case, the example I'm using is automotive or automated vehicles. Dealing with conflict. I love this. Again, like I said in class, I want you to disagree. If you find a topic that may not be proper, say it. It's to say, and this is what I ask with respect. Let's say the lead makes the point of automated vehicles or driverless. You may want to bring the point that vehicles are not driverless right now, right? Because they're not. They're assisted driving. And you may want to make that clear. You don't have to say you're wrong, but you may want to clarify that point, right? You may want to say, oh, by the way, Anthony, we're not quite there at driverless car. Right now we're in an autonomous car, which rely heavily on information systems to be managed. They need updates. You need to have communication systems that provide those updates, and all of a sudden you can guide that conversation back without really creating too much conflict. Let's say there is something that you totally do not agree. That shows partial disagreement, but it's really just clarifying a point. Let's say it's about my favorite topic, right? Some of you guys are going to bring the topic of the voting machines 2016. You don't agree? It's okay. You may say, the point that there was one student may say the failure of the machines was because of information systems were vulnerable. Okay, but one person may say no, they're not vulnerable. Just provide the points. This is from my standpoint, they were not vulnerable. Blah blah blah. And then there may be the third person out there that brings the more balanced approach. I think some were vulnerable, but other ones were not. So you can see there how you can bring a point and bring disagreement, and what's happening is you're building different pictures for people to work towards learning from each other. And then to summarize, I expect all students to do basic research on each week's topic, provide clear written, insightful comments and ideas that show basic critical thinking skill and observations with a good follow-up questions and APA citations and references. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you to some of my old posts from prior classes and show you what that looked like. Hold on for a second. Oops, okay, I'm gonna have to go back to this. Hold on for a second. So I'm actually going to show you a prior class comments, and again, I'm just gonna very quickly show some of the people who made the mark or the ones that did not. Let's go. I'm gonna pick something that you have not done yet. Okay, I'll use the same week discussion. Let's just go with that. All right, so I'm gonna make this bigger so you can see it. So this was discussion, same thing that you had before, and now let's pick, and I'm gonna pick here randomly someone, right? So Apple Pay, right? That's what they so now look at this very extensive point here. Now this is a very extensive discussion on a bunch of topics. This tells me the student was probably copy pasting a lot of information. That's not what I want. Okay, people are not gonna read this. You and I know we're not gonna read that. And anyway, just don't go there. How about some of the return comments? Now, a lot of these are okay comments. They're all opinions. None of this follow any standard of reference. And I normally give you a little bit break. So this week I gave them a little break. But there was a lot of opinion based. There was no effort put into this. This person put a lot of effort in copying and pasting, and this person just, whatever came to mind, that's what they posted. That's not what we're going to do in this class. Now, let me show you, what I need to show you is what happens by week. Let's go week 4 or 5. So you can see the transition that happens between posts, between different people. Let's go with this one. Discussion, projects that have failed. Again, quite extensive too. Not as long as the first one. I wouldn't be happy with just 2 references cited. And lengthwise, this is about the max of what I want to see from a lead perspective. Now, what you see here is that they're reference listed, some of them not properly, but there's no citations here. You can see here, he's going to get dinged for that. It was a great post, but he's not clarifying here where were the sources used. But this is very close to what I want to see from the lead post. Even maybe a little bit too long. Again, only needed two references. Now let's look at peers again. This brings out a good point. This is a person that put in basically, a off the top comment, really very little value. And then to make it look big, basically had the reply original to the post. So this is just repeating what the other person did. Do not do this. Do not include the original. I already provided guidance on how to turn that off. It's in the announcement. So make sure this is not on, because all you're doing is just wasting time. Now this one, okay, this guy actually provided a comment and has a reference. Now, he did not cite it, and he only used a link. But this is, he is making the effort. This is close to the top of peer response and extensive as I want to see for peer responses. Not all opinion. He has a source. He just didn't use APA to cited properly, nor did he put the citation in here too. But with lengthwise, and based on what I know about this student, is that he did a pretty good job there too. Now let me look at one more peer response. This was a lead post, very insufficient, didn't do much, did include one reference, but did not cite it. Let me look for a comment. Okay, this is a peer comment. Again, what I did notice about this group, because of the topic the person used, is they went off a little bit away from information systems, and they were focusing on the technology, not on the information system. So if you notice, this response was completely off topic. Cost of average 36,000 hours per flight hour. I grade. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the F-35, whether you know or not, or the F-22, depend on information systems to fly. The interconnectivity is critical to it. As a matter of fact, it is known fact that connectivity could be a huge risk for the F-35 and the F-22. None of that is mentioned here. Now, from a perspective of meeting the requirement, the format requirement, this person did a great job. He provided a reference as a peer. He cited the reference and even quoted the sections that he used. The problem is that he's completely off topic, and part of that is because the lead really went off the rails instead of really staying on the information systems issue with F-35, and he bit the rest of the students to follow in that topic instead of bringing it back to. So I tried to work with the students. A lot of the students have to resubmit their comments, but again, this was an example of how people can get off the topic. All right, I think I gave you enough. Let's go into artificial intelligence and ethics. This is about the right size for a peer response, by the way. Let me see if I can find somebody that I really... Okay, let's try what Curly did. Now, this person always submitted things way above the requirement, and I think he overdid it. But I couldn't, again, he was just an overachiever. I think this whole topic could have been cut to about 2/3 of this. But it is about artificial intelligence, so it is a pretty extensive, can be a pretty extensive discussion topic. So anyway, Mr. Charles was just one of my best students out there. He always excel at things. But again, 2 quotes would have been fine, and about 2/3 of this content would have been fine for a lead post. And then this is a response. This was a great discussion. Now, this is a good example of what I consider gap fillers. This is a great discussion. Artificial intelligence, great job. Your discussion post had a nice flow thread. Okay, that's nice, but it doesn't add anything to it too. So where this comment really starts is right here. AI bias occurs because, and if you notice, this is really the only substantive thing that the person provided. And that is what that person needed to explode in her comments. A little more meat to this would have been excellent. But if you notice, all of this was just fluff. The first part, almost 1/3 of it is just fluff. This is what was really she needed to address, or the person needed to address. And he missed an opportunity to provide a completely outstanding comment. All right, I'm going to show you one more thing. And I wanted to show in the announcements how to turn off that original, include the original note. If you follow me, there is a setting. There is this online classroom walkthrough notifications and settings. And then in here, it tells you how to turn off that include original post in reply. You make sure that's off. That's all I have for you. I hope that gave you enough instructions to provide what you need for this. I wanted to talk finally. I wanted to tell you what I'm going to do about the due dates for this week only, because I'm late. Discussion. So what I'm going to do, let me bring it up to the top, is what I want to do. Sorry, that's a draft. There we go. My first draft before I post it. Okay, so for this week, what I want to do is group 1, your lead post is moved now to Sunday, and the peer responses are not until Thursday. That way you'll have an opportunity in the Wednesday class to discuss discussions more adequately on Wednesday night when we meet in our Zoom check-in. So just know that that's what I'm doing to mitigate the fact that I'm late putting this guidance out, and I also want you to get more time anyway. Anyway, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, where are you going to put comments? Ask your question here forum. Okay? The student lounge, talk about the weather. You can talk about anything else. But if you want an answer from me, ask your questions here forum and from your peers. That's where you make comments. All right. God bless you all. Take care. Adios.